Have you ever wondered why some project managers seem to navigate challenges effortlessly while others over here crash and burn? The secret isn't luck or talent. It's generally how you manage your risk. It is pretty well known that executing risk the right way is going to help your projects finish on time, on schedule, and within budget. Yet we still push it off as something that we just have to do. But why? It's not that we don't know risk management matters. It's in the PMBOK. It's something we study when we take the PMP. It's what I have found to be a disconnect from what we learn to actual project execution. And I see this in four critical ways. First, we treat risk management as a one-time documentation exercise at the beginning of our projects. And then we focus almost exclusively on threats while ignoring the opportunities. Sometimes we silo our risk managers instead of making them a team-wide asset for our projects. And then we fail to integrate our own data into our decision making for our projects. As project and risk managers, our goal should not be to treat risk management as just another process, but to connect it to risk management in our daily actions, our status calls, our emails, and during our meetings. When your team gets constantly reminded about risk, you have a project that is constantly focused on being proactive over reactive with their risk management. And this makes everyone's life better. And to show this to you, let me show you 3 practical techniques to use to improve your risk management processes in your projects. If you like today's video, do me a favor, hit that like button and then subscribe so you can stay up to date on any video we have in the future when it comes to project management, project risk management, and leadership. First, we have a risk decision integration. Before you make significant project decisions, you should be pulling up your risk register and asking yourself 2 questions. How does this action impact our current risks? And does this create any new risks for our project? This simple step connects risk management to actual execution while putting a focus on and acknowledging that secondary risks are out there and could occur from a simple project decision. Technique 2 is opportunity first risk management. Start every risk review thinking about opportunities. What is out there that can help your project move forward? And do this before you ever address the threats of your project. This simple mind shift makes sure that everyone's thinking about the good that can happen before they start getting into the bad, the negative risks, those things that are easy for us to think about and see because we're just hardwired to do that. Once you take this focus and start thinking about opportunities, then focused on threats, this one change will transform your team from risk averse to opportunity focused when it comes to your project risk management. And technique 3, trigger-based monitoring. Here, you want to create simple, measurable triggers for each major risk and allow that to act as a warning sign, and then assign your team members to monitor these indicators throughout the project. This helps distribute ownership and creates a proactive risk management while also putting accountability on those risk owners to actually look for these triggers. These techniques help bridge theory and practice, and they'll help you both on the exam and in your real life projects. Now, if you're taking the PMP or if you're taking the RMP, let's talk specifically about succeeding with risk management on those portions of your certification exam. On your exam, you're going to be tested on the knowledge areas across the entire risk management process. So here are my 3 quick strategies for tackling the concepts on the exam. First, context matters. The PMI exams will they're going to test your understanding on how to use the different approaches based on the project context. Whether that be, are we using quantitative or qualitative risk analysis? How does risk response change based on project constraints? And other questions that you need to be able to ask yourself throughout the exam. Strategy 2 is tool selection mastery. Don't just memorize the tool names, understand exactly when and why you'd want to choose one of the many risk management tools that we have. Whether it be a decision tree analysis or expected monetary value, whether it be a risk breakdown structure or a SWOT analysis, or a probability impact matrix versus a Monte Carlo simulation. If you don't know what those terms mean, you need to focus on understanding what they are and what do they actually do for your project. And strategy 3 is understanding that there are integration questions on the exam. The toughest exam questions test how risk management is actually integrating with the other knowledge areas on the exam. You need to watch for scenarios that require you to connect risk with scope changes, schedule compression, quality issue, cost overruns, and stakeholder expectations. Every time you get a new question, it's going to be integrated across the space, especially if you're taking that RMP. They want to know that you understand risk from start to finish in that project. Which leads us into a quick practice question that you could probably see on either the PMP or the RMP. Okay, here we have a quick question. A project manager is leading a software development project that has a critical integration component with a legacy system. During the weekly team meeting, a developer mentions that the API documentation for the legacy system is incomplete. Which of the following would be the most appropriate first action for the project manager to take? All right, before we jump into the answers, let's think about the question. So we're a project manager leading a software development project. There's a critical integration component. Okay, so we're working on some new component that goes into an overall system that is legacy. So it's an older system. While we're going through, we're seeing that there's a new documentation, or there's a documentation that was existed that looks to be incomplete. So someone's saying, hey, this is incomplete. So we're figuring out what we're doing first, the most appropriate action that we have to do first. So, as the project manager, when you're taking your exam, think about, what am I doing that was the first exact action that you're actually going to take. So let's go A through D here. Document this as an issue in the issue log and assign a team member to resolve it. Okay, so we have a risk, but looking at this question, doesn't really say that we have an issue yet. Someone just mentioned in the meeting that this is there. Now, if you don't follow me and work with me, you would probably call this an issue, but it doesn't look like an issue yet. This looks like a risk to me. Why? Because it hasn't materialized. We just know that this is there. B, escalate the problem to the project sponsor immediately. All right, again, we don't want to jump to conclusions. Never want to jump to conclusions on your exam. Instead, you want to look at this and go, okay, I need to do something, but I don't need to go get my boss and be like, hey, boss, this is a new API integration. Guess we can't do this. No, he doesn't want to hear that. He wants to hear, what's your thoughts? What do you want to do next? C, update the risk register to include this information and analyze its potential impact. All right. So looking at this, we have a new risk. That new risk, we need to do something with it. What's our first action? Okay, put it on the risk register. That sounds like a good plan to me. And then we need to analyze this potential impact. Got to take it through qualitative risk analysis. We need to understand, what is this risk actually doing to my project? Just because the API documentation, the legacy system is incomplete, this might actually not even impact you. You're already updating this information. So you don't even know if this is actually going to do anything to your project, or if it's even worthwhile dealing with. You know that this is a risk, it's sitting out there, but do we have to actually work on it right now? Probably not, but we don't know. Why not? Because we haven't taken it through qualitative risk analysis. So C looks pretty good to me right now. And then D, I don't know, this is D twice, but D, compress the schedule to account for potential delays. All right, again, now we're even jumping to bigger conclusions than if we took it to the sponsor, because now we're just screwing with our entire project schedule. So again, D doesn't look good either, because we're jumping to conclusions. So if you ask me, based off this right now, granted I wrote the question, C is the best answer. Let's take it out. You always want to make sure that you are taking the actions put down in the PMBOK, in the risk practice guide, and you are going through the process no matter what it is. Someone comes to you with a problem, you put it in a risk register, unless it is a very specific issue, which we don't see here. And if you have any questions about that, let me know in the comments. All right, let's continue on. All right, so hopefully you liked that question and you got something out of it. I want you to think about the fact that your exam is going to test your continuous risk monitoring processes. You're not just doing risk management in planning, and you need to put equal attention to threats and opportunities throughout your exam. You need to make sure that you're integrating decision making throughout all the processes, specifically around risk management. Whether you're in planning, execution, wherever you're at, you're integrating risk management with the decisions that you're making to see where the impacts are between both documents. And then you're getting stakeholder involvement throughout your risk management process. You can't do this all yourself. You are most likely not the SME, the subject matter expert, in whatever you're working on. So you want to make sure you have your stakeholders with you, helping you along the way. And remember, PMI doesn't want you to know the process steps. They can care less if you can walk them through the risk management process. They want to understand how risk management integrates into everything else on your project. And that's where I see most students struggle. So to summarize today's key insights, risk management fails when disconnected from execution. PMI is going to emphasize opportunity, integration, and continuous monitoring of your risks. Don't forget the 3 practical techniques to bridge theory and practice. And always just focus on in your practice exams that exam success requires understanding context, tools, integration, and why those tools are used and how they're used during the specific steps of your project. The real connection between risk management and project success isn't just following a process. It's creating a mindset that sees uncertainty as a source of opportunity for your project. Don't forget, let me know below, did you get that practice question right? Did you have problems with it? Do you not understand the answer? Let me know so that way I can help you out. I try to read and respond to every comment. And if you're preparing for the PMP specifically, make sure you go watch my video over here on the 5 common PMP exam prep mistakes that you need to avoid. Again, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Thank you all. Stay motivated, stay dedicated. 44 Risk PM out.